Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Daniel Rodriguez Morelo from the Civil Engineering program in the Economic CVTs at Block 2 group. Today I'm here to present a topic from Unit 1, Scarcity, and Unit 2, the Law of Demand. We'll start with shortage. Scarcity is the central concept of economics. It arises because human desires are unlimited, while the resources and time to produce and satisfy those desires are limited. It affects all people regardless of their economic status and is an inherent condition of life. What is not a scarcity is not a shortage. A temporary shortage after a disaster does not equal a scarcity. Goods have always been scarce in the economic sense. It's not poverty. Even the richest face scarcity as they cannot get everything they want. It is a natural and permanent condition, not created by economists, but existing in reality itself. Scarcity and resources. Scarcity is explained by the limited resources available to produce goods and services. These resources are called factors of production and are classified as natural resources such as soil, water, minerals, or forests, human effort applied in production, physical capital, infrastructure, equipment and tools, human capital, education, skills, and productivity of workers, entrepreneurship, ability to organize, other factors, innovate and take risks. Goods versus economic goods. Everything that generates satisfaction from air to a car. Economic good, a subset of goods that come from scarce resources and require decisions about their use. Example, food, clothing, housing. There are also evils, such as weeds whose production exceeds what is desired. Services, intangible goods such as education, health, or cleaning are also part of economic goods. Wants and needs, desires, unlimited aspirations that motivate economic activity. These are difficult to define objectively, since what is commonly called a need is usually a desire expressed in another language. In a world of scarcity, choosing to satisfy one desire means sacrificing others. In conclusion, the document organizes its ideas by showing that scarcity is not synonymous with poverty or lack, but rather a reality that forces decisions about the use of limited resources. From these concepts such as factors of production, economic goods, and the difference between wants and needs are derived, which are the basis of modern economic theory. The law of demand. This document pedagogically develops the economic concept of the law of demand, its foundations, practical applications, and international examples. A structured summary of the main sections and titles follows, also integrating economic background information found in academic literature and online sources. 1. The law of demand. Demand is understood as the quantity of goods or services that consumers are willing to purchase at different prices, holding other factors constant: income, preferences, prices of other goods. Law of demand establishes an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Eh, when the price rises, the quantity demanded decreases. When the price falls, the quantity demanded increases. This principle rests on the assumption of ceteris paribus, all else equal, and is based on both empirical observation and model of rational behavior. 2. Relative prices versus money prices. A distinction is made between monetary price, monetary value of a good at a specific time, a relative price, price of one good compared to another. A relative price analysis is more accurate for understanding changes in the cost of living and consumer decisions. For example, comparing the price of a car across decades without adjusting for changes in housing prices or income can give a biased view. Three international examples: the high relative price of education in the United States. In the 1990s, nearly 40% of international students chose American universities. Today, that figure is around 30%. The main reason is the rising relative cost of higher education in the U.S. compared to other countries. Australia, for example, attracted more international students by offering more affordable and geographically accessible programs for Asians. This reflects how relative prices affect international demand for education and how a sector loses competitiveness if its costs rise faster than those of its competitors. 4. Critical analysis. The document invites reflection on possible alternatives for USA universities to maintain their attractiveness in the face of rising prices, such as greater access to scholarships and financing programs, expansion of international agreements, offering hybrid or online programs at lower cost, a connection with economic theory. The law of demand not only explains the consumption of basic goods, but also applies to complex markets such as education, healthcare, technology, and even social phenomena. In all cases, the key principle is that consumers adjust their purchasing decisions in response to changes in relative prices, making this law one of the fundamental foundations of modern microeconomics. Conclusion: the law of demand is one of the most solid pillars of economic theory, as it explains how consumers respond to price changes under the assumption that all other factors remain constant. Its value lies in demonstrating an empirical regularity. The higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded, and the lower the price, the higher the consumption. The document highlights the importance of distinguishing between monetary prices and relative prices, given that economic decisions are not made in a vacuum, but rather in comparison with other available options. Furthermore, the international analysis of the case of education in the United States demonstrates that this law is not limited to basic products, but also explains phenomena in globalized and highly complex markets. A simple and real example of scarcity is the time of a university student. A, a student only has 24 hours in a day. Let's assume he or she must study for a math test, submit a research paper, play sports, going out with friends, sleep at least 7 hours. Even if you wanted to do it all, your resources, time, and energy are limited. If you decide to dedicate more time to studying, you probably have to sacrifice sleep or time with friends. Real life example: gasoline in Colombia. A clear case of the law of demand is observed with the price of gasoline. When the price of a gallon of gasoline rises in Colombia, many people adjust their consumption, reduce travel by private vehicle, they use more public transport or alternative means such as bicycles and electric motorcycles. Ride-hailing apps typically report fewer rides during off-peak hours. Conversely, when the price of gasoline falls, which has happened in some periods thanks to subsidies or international adjustments, consumers tend to use their cars more, make longer trips, and in general demand more fuel. This reflects the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. As the price rises, consumption decreases, and as the price falls, it increases. Furthermore, it shows how a mass consumer good, essential in daily life, is directly conditioned by the law of